This is a very important issue that we're all going to have to monitor. The Supreme Court is currently weighing whether misinformation is protected speech or not. So, for a little background, as social media sites were flooded with misleading posts about vaccine safety, mask effectiveness, and COVID 19 origins and federal shutdowns, the Biden officials urged platforms to pull down posts, delete accounts, and amplify correct information. And now the Supreme Court could decide whether the government violated Americans' First Amendment rights with these actions. Where the implications of this is that it would dictate a new era for what role, if any, officials can play in combating misinformation on social media. Where Murthy v. Missouri alleges that federal officials coerced social media and search giants like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google to remove or downgrade posts that question vaccine safety, COVID's origin, or shutdown measures. Where Biden's lawyers argue that officials made requests but never forced companies, which is an interesting take to take. Because, in my opinion, in terms of scientific information, misinformation and disinformation should be shut down quickly and efficiently. Where the government defenders say that if the court limits the government's power, it could hamstring agencies like the CDC, scrambling to achieve higher vaccination rates and other critical public health initiatives. A good recent example of this is Ladapo out of Florida, the Florida Surgeon General, who's been pushing COVID vaccine misinformation and disinformation, where most recently he's telling all people in Florida do not get the vaccine, which is incorrect. People should be getting the vaccine. Where the critics argue that federal public health officials, already in the throes of national distress and apathy, never should have tried to remove misleading posts in the first place. And this quote I don't really like, but it says, rather than trying to keep bad information off by suppression, why don't we have a strategy that really is very aggressive at propagating accurate information? When in my opinion, you need both. You need to aggressively advocate for the correct information, and then you also have to suppress the bad information, the incorrect information. And like always, as of recently, Florida is leading the way to the dark side, where Net Choice v. Attorney General State of Florida is a Florida law that would effectively diminish a platform's ability to moderate false and misleading posts. Where in May of last year, Florida enacted a law imposing severe restrictions on the editorial freedom of large social media platforms, ostensibly in an effort to stop censorship of conservative viewpoints. The law imposes both content moderation restrictions and transparency requirements, which provides a certain level of protection in Florida against people that are spreading misinformation and disinformation. Furthermore, this Florida law allows platforms to be sued for up to $100,000 for each post they moderate inconsistently. Where if the Supreme Court rules in favor of protecting misinformation and disinformation, it will have a chilling effect on the government, especially for the CDC, because the line is fuzzy and because they don't want to be accused of coercion, they're not going to be sure when they can talk to social media.